Looking back, I don't know why it was over the wreck, but that was the accepted terminology. It was never to the wreck, on the wreck, or even in the wreck. We always went over the wreck. The wreck featured large in my childhood. It was a vast expanse of scrubby grass, scattered with trees, a playground at one end and the canal path at the other, which separated my back garden from the factory. This being Swindon, or Swinedown, as it had originated, the factory was the home of the railways, GWR, acre upon acre of lines, engine sheds, workshops, sidings, storage depots, coal, lots of coal, and water towers, all encased behind high red and black brick walls or iron railings at the bottom of steep banks where we would stretch through to pick bunches of wild pink sweet peas. It was the workplace of my father Gordon, my uncle John, and my granddad Patsy. They, like hundreds of others grateful for the work in post-war Britain, spent all their days at the factory regulated by the hooter. The sound of the hooter could be heard pretty much all over town and signalled to the workforce the rhythm of their working day. The first blow of the hooter would see streams of men ambling along or cycling in small groups across the wreck. The second blow caused a quickening of pace and a purposeful lengthening of stride. By the third whistle, the stragglers could be seen, sprinting in their heavy boots, blackened jackets flapping, or pedalling furiously to catch the throng, desperate to avoid losing time by being last in the clocking queue. The first whistle was at 7:15, ready for a 7:30 start. Dinner was at 12:30 sharp, and the day finished at 5:30. The ebb and flow of this tide of men shaped our lives too. We kept out of the way as the men came and went across the wreck. Their marching feet beat out a warning to keep the path clear. The lunchtime hooter had wives all over town draining veg and mashing potatoes. I was allowed to wait by the gate until my father appeared, and then to rush across the grass to hug him as he swung me into the air. The wreck was where we collected kindling wood to light the fire. It was where I learned to ride a bike, where I watched my brother break his arm. I made daisy chains, twisted my ankle by catching my foot in the goalpost hole. It was where we played hide and seek and Rin Tin Tin. And many years later, it was the secluded way home for a quiet goodnight kiss with a new boyfriend. The wreck was the view from my window. I knew its moods and its seasons. If the grass was high and waving, I could wear a thin cotton dress with yellow flowers and lay in its soft cocoon to watch clouds roll by. If the grass was stiff and white, it signalled struggling into a stiff liberty bodice over my vest, long socks, scratchy woolen kilts, and thick hand-knitted jumpers. They kept the body covered, but by lunchtime my knees would be red raw and chafed by the cold. I never felt warm again until the green buds swelled on the trees. One particular winter, the service road which ran behind the back gate before the wet grass started was being re-tarmacked. I couldn't resist the smell of tar and loved the clanking of the steamroller as it trundled along. If I was lucky, I might be allowed to ride alongside the driver. He was a friend of my father and couldn't quite believe that a little girl could love the steamroller as much as he did. He was a big man with a ruddy face, huge arms and a leather waistcoat. He smelt of coal and tar and knew every cog and piston of his strange machine. I could see the steamroller inching along the road away from me, just past Billy Vincent's house. I began to run along the verge, calling as I went, hoping he'd hear me above the engine. Just as I got close, he turned and shouted something I didn't quite catch. Distracted, I caught my foot and sprawled headlong into the wet tar. I struggled to my feet, tears welling up, and looked at my coat. The entire front of me glistened black and sparkly. My knees and palms stung with the pain and felt the warmth of the tar. But worse pain would come later, when my mother saw the pale camel coat. "You okay?" inquired the steamroller man. I nodded a tearful face in his direction, and then limped home to face the music.